for the Hot Point String Band. Welcome, we are so glad you're here. This is going to be a very important day in changing education in Ohio. I'm John Schmieding.
I'm Mara Eakin.
And as you know, we've come together to look at education policy and education practice and how our children, parents, and teachers are being affected. This rally was put together not by some big fancy organizations, although some of them have been very supportive, but just some folks from Athens County who are concerned about what's happening. And I think that's an important piece to notice about this, that it's things that we did, that you can do, that we can all do to make schools better. The problem we've had is we can never quite remember the name of this act that we're not so happy with. Is it called No Child Left Standing?
I'm pretty sure it's called No School Left a Dime.
No, I believe it's No Parent Left Unexhausted.
Maybe No Teacher Left Unpunished?
One of those, anyway. We're really glad you're here. We have a few announcements that we need to make before we start bringing our speakers out. Our interpreters today are Jackie Miller and Debbie Brewer. Thanks for their great work.
We'd be happy to recycle your water, which you can pick up in the back for free, and you can recycle your water in any of the green tubs. The big yellow tent in the back also has the water, as I just said, kids' activities, and all sorts of literature about school and school funding.
So how many people here are students? Let's hear it. How many people here are parents? How many people here are teachers? How many people here work in schools in other ways? How many people want things to change? Right. Well, our first speaker was governor of the state of Ohio from 1971 until 1975. He's currently a member of the Cincinnati Board of Education, where he's been championing the causes for poor and working people, for a fair and adequate school system. Please welcome former Governor John Gilligan.
Good afternoon. How are you all? What are you doing here? That's right. You need to be inside there going after the people who sit in those halls and fail to vote for education in this state. That's what we need to do. I'm happy to have the opportunity to be here and to talk to you about things you already know. But I wanted to make a couple of quick points. Everybody who is in office in that building, all the members of the legislature, House and Senate, as well as the governor, take an oath of office in which, among other things, they pledge or swear to uphold and support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the Constitution and the laws of the state of Ohio. In spite of that oath, which many of these members of the legislature have taken repeatedly in recent years, the DeRolf decision by our Supreme Court in this state has, on 4 separate occasions, declared the method of funding education or underfunding education in Ohio to be a violation of the Constitution. And these members who are sworn to uphold that Constitution ignore the Supreme Court, whose job it is to interpret the Constitution for all of us. Now, what kind of sense that makes, I don't know, and how the newspapers and others of the state can go on recommending that these people be reelected to the legislature in the face of that kind of a record, I, again, don't know. The other point that I wanted to mention to you today is something you already know. the organization which has been leading this fight for the children of Ohio and for the future of Ohio in terms of seeking adequate and equitable funding for education is made up of some 550 some of the 600 odd school districts in the state of Ohio. Each one of those districts has its own elected board of education. They choose a superintendent. They handle public funds. They are responsible fundamentally for the educational system of the state. They have now for more than 10 years been lobbying and arguing and fighting and holding rallies and so forth and so on to attempt to get the legislature and the governor to face up to their constitutional responsibilities. Now, I think it's important that we recognize that these local boards of education, like the one I serve on in the city of Cincinnati, is made up of elected representatives who are responsible to the people of that area and who are pledged to try to provide the best education they can for the people of that area. Time and time again, month after month, year after year, they've come up to Columbus and they've tried to argue for adequate and equitable funding of education, only to be spurned by the legislature. So I think the time has come and we really seriously have to think about changing this ball game. We've begged and argued and persuaded with the sitting members of the legislature and even tried to get the governor's attention once or twice. Now I think, having been rejected over the years by these people, the only response we have left is to turn them out of office and put people into office who will recognize and comply with their constitutional responsibilities. There is clearly no job that government has. As a matter of fact, the operation, the funding and operation of education in the state of Ohio is, in terms of the dollars involved, the people served, the people involved in the program and so forth, education is far and away the biggest enterprise of state government. And it deserves that kind of attention, and it's not been getting it. So in the final analysis, the legislature works for all of us. And it's time, I think, that we told them, you had your shot and you blew it. Now move on and let us get somebody in here who's going to do the job right. We've had the experience in Ohio over the years of making dramatic changes when they were required in the field of the organization and funding of public education. I'll give you one little statistic on that. If the state of Ohio funded public higher education, our colleges and universities,